Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Hammerhead Hobbies. In this episode, I'm going to be unboxing and reviewing this F4U-7 Corsair by Italeri. This is the F4U-7 Corsair by Italeri. This is in a 1:72 scale and the model number is 1313. Now this model was built in 2011, so it's a fairly new model, and it was fairly cheap. You can see here this is Canadian pricing, so it's a pretty good price for this model. Now opening the box up and taking the sprues out. Now I don't like this style of box. The only reason I don't like this style of box is I use my boxes sometimes to hold my pieces, and this box here is just an open flap and the pieces could fall out. So I'm not too impressed by the box. Start off with the instructions here. Okay. I open it up and the first thing I see is the sprue numbering, which is nice. When I'm looking for a part, I can just look here, see where the part is on the sprue, rather than look through all my sprues to find the part. It does have the nice color schemes, color patterns here, so this is a Model Master color scheme. It also has the FS color, so if you want to cross-reference that, you can cross-reference it with the FS colors. Now looking at the assembly instructions, they look pretty basic. It's pretty good instructions. The print is really nice and clear. Gives you good colors for every piece. Okay, so there's not a lot of steps, as you can see here, so it's not a very difficult model to put together. And over here you have the different squadrons for the France squadron here. So there's two different color patterns you can do. So not bad instructions from Italeri. Looking at the decal sheet here. So you can see the decal sheet here. It's very nice. It doesn't have a lot of detailed pieces, but it does have the major ones. This is for the different squadron over here, and it's got great color. It looks pretty good. The crispness is nice. Okay, but again, not a lot of detailed pieces. Over here you got a few that go in the propeller, but other than that, there's not a lot of detailed pieces in there. Okay, I'm going to go sprue by sprue and looking at the sprues and telling you what the good and the bad is about them. Over here is the fuselage area here. So it's got some good detail. These are all recessed lines in here, so that's nice. So you can highlight them and accentuate the panel lines with some wash, and it's easy to do with the recessed ones. Over here is the engine. It's pretty detailed. It's not too bad. You have, it looks like 3 different cowlings depending on the model you're doing or the squadron. Over here is the wheels. There is some radial pattern in there for the wheels, and there's some basic hub pattern for the wheel hub in there. Over here I see the instrument panel, and it's got good detail. There's raised dials in there, which you can see in the instrument panel, and you can color those up really nicely. The seat looks pretty plain. Now it doesn't come with a pilot, so you know, if you want to have this showing, you might want to add some seat belts or some cushions and stuff like that. The wheel struts look nice. They're fairly detailed. They're nice and thin, making them look more realistic, but they're a lot more fragile also. I'm looking in here at the cockpit area, and I do see some great detail in there. So you can see the floor. It has a little pattern before the rudders. There's some nice dials and switches on the sides. The propeller is over here. It's nice. It's got some good shape. It's got some detail on it. It's thin, so it looks more realistic. Okay, and you got a couple of drop tanks over here. They're smooth. They have no detail on them at all, so I don't know if that's realistic or not. Looking at the rockets, they're basic rockets. There's not real much detail on them. A couple lines. The fins look fairly thin. They are a little bit tapered, so they're thicker near the base and a little fatter up top, so giving it the illusion that they're thinner. And then the supports for the rockets are here, which is just plain supports, no detail on them. The wheel well covers, they have some detail on the inside here. Okay, so if you have this as a landed model, you can paint that up and make it look nice. Moving on to the next sprue. You can see here the bottom of the wings. There's some good detail on there, and again, these are all recessed lines, so easier to detail. Inside the wheel well, you can see that they've given you some sort of structure in there. However, it's not very deep, so it's not realistic in that sense. When the wheel goes in, usually it's a little deeper than that. Looking at the top of the wings, again, good detail on there, recessed lines. Okay, and again, these are another cover, wheel well cover over here, and this is the rear wheel well cover. It's got a little bit of detail in it, not bad. Looking at the elevators or horizontal stabilizers, again, basic detail on those, nothing too dramatic. Okay. Lastly, I'm going to move on to the canopy. And looking at this canopy, it is clear, which is nice. Which meaning it's not yellowed or, you know, defective in any other way. It is a little thick, which makes it a little distorted. So if I were to hold this up to this model here and I pass by, you can see how it distorts the image below, right? And then same with the front one. You can see how it distorts the image. So if you were to put some nice detail on the inside in the cockpit area and you had this canopy as a closed canopy, it will take away from some of that detail and you won't be able to see it as much. But other than that, it's nice and clear. So not too bad of a canopy. Okay, so all in all, this is a pretty good model, and I got it for a really good price. We got it for a really good price, so you can see you can usually pick these up fairly cheap at a hobby store. The only thing again I don't like about this is the box. I don't like this box because it is right now I have the pieces loose. If I do tip it over and a piece came off the sprue, it could easily fall out. So coming up will be my summary with the pros and cons. Alright, starting off with the pros. The instruction sheets are good, the good detail on them, and well produced. The decals are nice and crisp and colorful. On the sprues, it has a nice cockpit area with good details on the instruments. There is good detail on the exterior of the plane also, with nice recessed lines. And this is an easy to assemble model. Moving on to the cons list. For the decals, there's no small detailed decals. The assembly of this model might be too easy for more experienced modelers. The canopy is a little thick but wavy. Overall, this is a good model for beginners. It doesn't have a lot of pieces. The only thing I'm afraid of, this may be too easy and basic for some. I hope you enjoyed the review, and I hope you enjoyed the build.